kind of the spearhead of the group in terms of helping to put together some relevant topics. So we appreciate all the work he has put into his PowerPoints and all the preparation that he's done. And it looks like Palmer Brown from WTAJ will do the next one of our programs. And I tell you this up front because I know people have to jump off at some point, and I want to make sure that everybody is aware of what we have coming up. But Kyle, I really appreciate all the time and everything that you've put into this, and how valuable the comments that we've gotten have been really outstanding. So
glad to hear.
Thank you very much for that. And it's all yours.
All right. Well, thank you, Joe. Thank you, everybody, for being here. This is my third and final part of the series, but this is just the beginning here. We've really set out to bring a lot of valuable providers in the next several months. So you want to make sure you stay tuned to this series. And as it relates to the three-part series that I'm helping Joe with here, today we're going to be covering organic search engine optimization in a little more detail and profitable video marketing. So there's some nuances to this that, maybe we've heard some of these words, maybe we've tried some of these things, but what I find is that very few businesses are actually using these things reliably to benefit their business. And of course, with COVID-19 and everything being more virtual these days, these skill sets are more valuable and important than ever. So let's go ahead and jump right in. And by the way, as we're going, if you want to ask any questions, go ahead and feel free to use the chat box as questions come up. And also, we're going to be doing I'm going to be trying to do some live strategy sessions here as well. So if you want to name your business specifically, that's great. Or if you just want to name your industry or your specific niche or product or service, what I'll do is we'll start modeling some strategies based on my experience and knowledge around these topics. And that way, maybe you can get some live insight as to how somebody like myself would market your business online, etc. So, okay, let's go ahead and jump in. Everybody ready? Okay, so quick background for anybody who hasn't been on any of the previous two series yet. I started my first online business in 2001. I was lucky to have built a global e-commerce platform by age 24. I sort of just fell into that, and my life's been all digital marketing ever since. Up till now, I've helped over 200 brands online increase their impact, and I've been doing this for almost 20 years now. So it's what I love to do, and I've seen it work so many times now that anybody who thinks their business is different or it won't work for their business, I can show you examples where that's not the case. So keep an open mind as you go through this, and think about ways that you can take action on these items. Okay, so using my simple graph here, my simple chart that we've been using throughout the series, in the first round we covered your website and why it's very powerful. And then in the second round we went into social media, and today finally we're covering video and with a dash of search engine optimization in it as well. I'm going to go into you're going to see this one come up again because there's details in this that are important, but we're going to keep cruising for now. Here's really what matters in the search engine world, and video is one of the most valuable and easy ways to get good search engine traffic, because search engines will give you traffic 24/7, 365. I like to call it the gift that keeps giving all year long. And paid Facebook ads have become the internet sensation in the last 5 to 10 years. And everybody's kind of gotten busy in that world, while search engines will still send you all sorts of free traffic, like I said, 24/7, 365. The problem with paid ads is that the minute you turn them off, the minute you stop spending money, your traffic goes down to zero. So your website, if you follow these bullet points, it will receive traffic from the various search engines online around the clock, and there's no end to it really. Yes, if you leave it go too long, your site will begin to go down in ranking, but the main things that we want to look at for making sure your website is in good standing on search engines are these couple points here. So each of your pages should have adequate text content, about 450 words per page. And by the way, I'll give you these the slides after the talk. Joe can email them to you, And there's some links and references in here as well. So you can use this as your guide. But on your pages, you want to have 450 words per page minimum on average. This gives Google and other search engines the ability to read your site and say, okay, what's this all about? If you want to do more words, that's better. If you want to run a blog and do 2 blog posts twice a month, that's even better. The next most important thing is your site structure and your site map. And we think of this typically in your site menu, right? Your home, your services page, your product page, your about us page. And that's the basic start of this, where a search engine expert will help you map your site in a more powerful way for Google. So there's the low-hanging fruit that you want to take care of, and then there's the stuff the pros can help you do as well. The other side of that is your meta content, your titles on your pages, your tags and your keywords on your pages. All of these things say to the search engines that, oh, this is a professional business site. It's well structured. It's easy for us to understand and read. Therefore, we're going to send you to the top of the page, because Google and other search engines' job is to give the most relevant information, right? And you can do that with paid ads. Like I said, if you want to pay per click, you can do that. But the easier way typically to do this is through making sure your site is structured correctly. The other thing, and one of the biggest multipliers for your business website, are backlinks. That's when a site such as a newspaper, or as even a college campus, or whoever it may be, somebody in your industry. Let's say you're doing a talk just like this. Joe would put my website in his, in the brochure that gets sent out online, and then that gives me a link to my site. So anytime you're out in the world doing things, collaborations, charitable events, you want to make sure that your link gets spread around, because those links outside will come back to you, and Google and other search engines recognize that as a valuable thing. So you're not just a fly-by-night, one-page website that got put up yesterday. You're a legitimate business. You've got links out all over the place. You've got content on your pages, and then that will give you the traffic flow that you're looking for. Because we know people are out there searching for the problems and the products and services that you have, right? The problems that your product and services solve. So people are searching. They got headaches. They got goals. They got aspirations they want to achieve. They're trying to find a solution. The question is, can they find your website? And if your website doesn't have a fair amount of content on it, Google has no way of sending people to your website. So this is the foundational aspect of why I talked about with our map here. Your website is the bedrock of your digital foundation, and you want to make sure you balance your efforts online, and your website should be a full 30% of your efforts online. So below at the bottom of this page, there's a link to Google Search Engine Guide. It'll tell you everything you need to know about how to get your site ranking better in the search engines. Here's the thing, as entrepreneurs and leaders, it always comes down to our time or our money. And for as little as $500, there are search engine experts that can give you that next level of presence that you need to rank better in search engines. And if you think about, okay, you're going to spend on Facebook ads for 6 months, you're probably looking at $5,000 to $10,000 minimum. And then once that goes away, your traffic goes away. So search engine optimization, I believe, is a foundational item that you want to do before you do all those things. So let's keep moving. And by the way, please be thinking of your questions, or I'm happy to review your business or your business type as we get into questions. I don't like to talk too long. I like to open it up so we can do more open dialogue and Q&A. So what is the world's second largest search engine below Google? That is YouTube. And video is one of the most powerful ways to grow your brand and business today, period. When we think about video, oftentimes we think about, oh, we got to hire a videographer. We got to get studio lighting. We got to do all these things. And most of the time that's not true. You don't need to spend so much on video for several reasons that we're going to get into. Before we dive into that, the main part of today's video, I want to go through the three sections one more time. If you've been on my other videos, you've seen this, so this will just be a good review for you. If this is the first time you're seeing this, you want to take some notes because this is really important. So like I said, your website is the bedrock foundation of your strategy. If you arrange it right, Google and other search engines will send you free traffic 24/7, 365. Your website is the only platform you have 100% control over online. Social media platforms are increasingly restricted these days from censorship, they have government and federal pressure for things they can and can't say, information they can and can't share. Most of us don't have to worry about that, but sometimes your industry will come up against that. And your website is the ultimate place where you can control your narrative about your business online. And of course, a website can be, you can either build it yourself online in a drag and drop style editor like Wix or Squarespace, or you can have a technician build your website in WordPress for relatively low money. And once your site's built, it doesn't cost you more than $20 a month to host. So it's a very low cost way to get your word out there. Moving up to the social circle here, the challenge is you never own those platforms, and they can go away overnight. While they are very powerful and they are definitely a valuable part of your strategy, you never want to lean on that alone. And best of all, social media can amplify a good website. If you have a good website, you want to take people to it. Social media is a great place for traffic. And of course, the third pillar here, video. It's very high leverage. Videos that are done correctly, and we're going to talk about how to do videos correctly on a very low budget. If you do them correctly, they can drive a lot of traffic and awareness to your brand and business. It is the fastest way to grow a brand. Good video carries faster than anything else online. And like I said, it does not have to be expensive. So let's go ahead and jump into the main event here. Actually, before I do that, one last slide is how this all ties together. This is another slide that we had in our second roundtable video. Between your social, between your search, between video, between website, guys, you want to think about, okay, at the end of the day, yes, we want to put out all sorts of content, what have you, but what matters here? How is this going to make money for our business, right? Your business website should have a compelling offer page. What is it that's new and exciting? What is it that's old that you can talk about in a new and exciting way? Some of our businesses, our products don't change very much. Some of our businesses, products and services change all the time. What is that offer? What's compelling? Why are you doing it the way you do it? I don't believe in competition because every business has a specific way that they do business that makes them unique. So what is it about your brand and business that's unique and special? And that should be all part of your DNA, your online content as to what makes you and your business you. And when you emphasize those things, people will naturally be attracted to you for very specific and certain reasons. So your offer should live on your website, and your social media, your video, your search traffic should in some ways always go to that offer in some capacity. All roads lead to that in a sort of way. So other things about offers, they should be time sensitive. You have somebody coming to a page, if they don't take action by the end of the month, this deal's going to go away. The offers, of course, should be value driven. Packages and bundles are great ways to have powerful offers online. Bring one of your products and another one together into a valuable package and discount it by 10%. And you've got a reason for somebody to pick up the phone and give you a call then. So your offers are the compelling force behind all of this content. Another thing I see a lot of businesses that I work with, they miss out on, a full 10% of your existing customer base or customers that come through your door every week will want to have an upgraded service or package from you. It's otherwise known as an upsell. Upsells are some of the lowest hanging fruit in a business. Some people don't want to do it all themselves. They don't want the low dollar package. They want to pay a little more and get a better service or a full solution to where, to where they don't have to be as involved, but they're happy to pay you to do it. So upsells are low hanging fruit, and that can always be a part of your offer pages on your website. Okay, let's keep moving here. All right, so easy ways to make highly effective videos for your business. Today's smartphones, guys, are plenty good enough to start with. You don't need to go out and buy any cameras. You don't need to go out and get a bunch of expensive equipment in most cases. Good audio and lighting is a priority. If you got the audio correct, you got the lighting correct, the rest of it is really about your message in your brand. And we're going to talk all about that. So if you see my image on this slide, you can go onto Amazon, and for $15 or $20, you can buy a microphone that plugs right into the bottom of your phone. And you immediately, for $20, you have professional level audio for your smartphone. And typically I have two smartphones with me. I have one with my audio that I put in my pocket, and then I have the phone that I actually record with set up on a tripod or just a desk or a bookshelf, on the other side of the room where we do the recording. In your case, you might have an employee or a helper that can hold the phone. And, this type of thing is not difficult to do. Yes, we all get a little nervous in front of a camera. I still do. I'm in front of a camera a lot. And you know what? That's just something, if you want your business to grow, there are things you got to get over. Because I know for a fact you've got a good product or service, or you wouldn't be here. And the world needs to hear about it more. And the easiest and low friction way to do that is through compelling video. So, okay. what are we thinking? Okay, what's the video about, right? Okay, a lot of times when people think about their website, they think about videos. What's the first thing they want to do is they want to talk about, we're so-and-so and we've been in business this long, and this is the owner and this is the co-owner. And like, that's not really what makes for good web content, especially these days. People have heard all that before. And here's the thing, when you're online, you're not really looking through that lens. What you're looking for online, typically for your customers, generally speaking, people have a problem that they're trying to solve. They might not even know you exist yet, right? But they have a problem. So they're online Googling various aspects of that problem. And it just so happens that if your content is set up correctly on your website or in your videos, Google's going to reference you as a potential solution. Google doesn't care if they buy off of you per se. Google cares that they can serve up good, helpful information. So we want our information to be primarily about what helps our customers and clients become more informed, better educated purchasers of our solution. This will save you phone time. This will save you the back and forth, the things that, oh, I didn't know, didn't know this and that. So all the stuff that you have to repeat on the phone every day, these are great things to make videos about. So we call them FAQs, right? Frequently asked questions. Just create a page on your website called FAQs and make a video about each one, and you're off to the races. You're already onto a very good track with having video benefit your business tremendously. Another thing you can do is staff features. Staff that have been there a long time, that carry an expertise around your product or service. You want to interview them, ask them about what makes your product or service unique, ask them about their journey. Every human being alive, including you, including me, including Joe, including everybody else, we are all story-driven machines. You ask anybody anywhere in the day, you say, how did you get here and why are you here? And they say, oh, my wife wanted me to go to the store and I stopped at the hardware store before I got here. Like, there's always a reason why you're where you are. And stories are the way we motivate and inspire. So tell good stories about your brand, your business, success stories. Video testimonials are some of the most powerful things online today. Interview a few of your customers. Say, hey, do you mind spending 5 minutes with me over at the camera today? We're going to put you in a raffle to win a $100 gift card to our store, right? You got to incentivize, you got to motivate for sure. But if you don't ask, you're not going to get it. So think about ways that you can shine your business in a positive light. That's always true. We never want to deceive or, the more polish you try to put on this, it'll end up coming out less authentic as well. So don't overthink any of this either. You just want to keep it simple, keep your lighting and audio good, and have people tell good stories. Like I said, you're going to be 80% of the way there. What charitable events are you engaged with? What other businesses in the community can you collaborate with to come up with something that's for the benefit of everybody, right? When you're involved and you sponsor an event that brings people together, you automatically win, especially if you have somebody gather some content from the event and your name is associated with it, et cetera. So the things you have to do for your business anyhow, the things you've always done, maybe for some of our older business owners, you have to go out and promote and cross promote and connect. Now, these days, of course, COVID makes us do this more digitally, but within a year or so, as this situation lets up, we're all going to be faced with those same situations. We got to go out and promote and connect with the community, and using content as a way to get more leverage from all of those things that you got to be doing anyhow. Contests and giveaways, guys. These are great things to do as well. There's a base of people online who will love your brand, who want to celebrate your brand, who love what you do, and they want to share it. So contests and giveaways can be a great way to get that shareability out there onto the web. So gift cards, giveaways, and each brand, each product, each business is unique. You're going to have very specific things that are going to be perfect for your business that even I have been doing this a while. I don't even know. You're the expert at your customers. You talk to them every day and you've got insights. And I want to challenge you to trust those insights, because oftentimes we think of a good idea and then we talk ourselves out of it. And we say, oh, well, I'm busy. And then we kind of get distracted in other things. And these will never work for your business, of course, unless you get out there and do them. So here's the thing with SEO. The same rules apply to YouTube as with your website. So when you put a video on YouTube, on your YouTube channel, you want to title it and you want to put a description in that. And you can even use the same content over on your blog, right? Make a video, put it on YouTube. Then once it's on YouTube, grab that video link, go to your blog and say, hey, here's a video we made on YouTube that's about this, this, and this. So if you're having leaky pipes in your basements, to use a plumbing analogy, Don't wait for it to turn into a bigger problem. You want to get it handled today. And here's 3 things to know. Here's 3 points as to how to make sure you don't have a catastrophic basement leak, right? Is that leak a big problem, or is it a small problem? And when you help people break down their challenge, they will automatically attribute you with having a solution. And there's a loyalty, a subconscious human loyalty that happens when we help people with content online. And that's the most concise version of why content marketing is so powerful these days. And finally, every page on your website can benefit from video. Every page you can use a short video to enhance it, because some people like to read, some people like to watch video. So it's perfectly acceptable to accommodate multiple what we call user paths on your website. Some people are going to want to read, some people are going to watch video, and vice versa. So these are all very powerful things to think about for getting more traction, more transaction, more traffic to your website and to your various social media platforms. So here's the thing, guys, the $1 million questions. I'm going to bring them up here. Effective digital content is not about you or your business per se. Good, shareable content is about helping your prospects and followers solve a problem or achieve a goal. Now, many of us in business, we help each other solve problems on the day-to-day. Other businesses, we've seen Del Grosso's theme park on here. Are they really solving a problem? Not so much, but they're more about helping people achieve a goal, right? Entertainment is an aspiration for people. There's all kind of aspirations. Sometimes buying the fashionable clothing that people sell, that's not really solving a problem, but it's helping people achieve a goal. So you can kind of use the carrot or the stick, right? Whether you're going towards something or trying to get away from something, these common dynamics, understanding them in your market will help you make much better, more powerful content that will actually solve people's problems. And then you get the benefit of them being more likely to be more loyal and wanting to work with you because they will attribute you with the solution. So here are the $2 million questions. What problems does your product or service solve for your customers? And that can be, you can write down a list, write down 5 to 10 things. And every one of those bullet points that you write down is a good topic for video. And of course, what words are they searching for online, right? Think about before you came into your industry, think about when you were a beginner and you didn't even know anything about your niche, but you still, you went online and you searched for certain things and you used certain words that, an expert wouldn't use the same words, but a beginner would use different words. So these types of keywords are very important to put in your titles, in your subjects, and they'll give you a good direction for your video. So if you spend 15, 20 minutes breaking that down, you'll come up with a month's worth of content literally on a sheet of paper in 5 to 10 minutes. So it doesn't need to be difficult, and overthinking will just slow you down. So, if you're not the guy to be in front of the camera, you can be behind the camera and have somebody in your business be in front of the camera. All these things are very valuable. And, here's the thing. The one thing you need to remember about this, every day, every night, all week, all weekend, people are searching for the solutions that your business has online. And the question is, can they find you? And if you don't have good content out there, good shareable content, helpful content that helps people understand the problem or solution, then most likely they cannot find you, and you're simply missing out on the business. So something to think about, guys. I'm like a cheerleader for my clients. Here's the thing: this knowledge is helpful, but if you don't get out and act on it, break it down into pieces, it won't work for your business. So make a commitment today to do some of this and break this down, and have some conversations within your company about how are we going to get this started. We know we're missing out on the content revolution. We know we're not, where we should be with our traffic. How are we going to break this down and start chipping away at it? Because it is, the work never ends. It's just like anything else in your business. You just chip away at it a bit at a time, commit an hour or 2 a week to it. And you do that over a period of a few months, you'll see results. There's no question about it. So I see Palmer jumped in here. Joe, that's pretty much the gist for today's topics. I'm more than happy to answer questions. Please put your business or your business category in, and we can talk about strategy. Anybody's tried video and has had challenges, any challenges around your videos that you've had, we're happy to answer those questions as well. Palmer, thanks for jumping in. It seems like you're on the go today, but glad to have you here.
I do apologize for that. I had a meeting with a client this morning, and it was technology failure after technology failure. trying to they had their projector and they had a whole room and wanted us to plug in and their projector wouldn't work. And we were troubleshooting. I got to play IT guy a little bit too. So did not successfully, but I did.
Okay, well, I know you caught some of that. Anything come up for you? Anything you want to talk about from your experience around any of this?
No, I think you really hit a lot of the great points, and I think the big one that you can really emphasize, it's not about you, it's about your customers. I think what you said there, it really is. Oftentimes I see as a marketing and messaging mistake is we kind of talk to an audience of ourselves in our planning, and we kind of have to remove ourselves from that mindset that it's our customers, and we're not always reflective. Our own habits and messaging and things we're drawn to are not always reflective of what our customers are.
Yeah, it takes that extra step, right, of stepping outside your own shoes. And it feels foreign at first, but once you get into it, the ideas flow, and then the topics come easier and easier. Joe, anything you want to add to that? Anything that came up for you?
No, I think I like the way you were able to blend the two topics together. That certainly makes our life easier when I put the wrong topic in the one marketing thing that we did. So I noticed we do have a chat.
Yeah, I see Jessica here. Jessica, for lighting, the easiest way is outdoor. With the sun at the camera person's back. Now, noise control usually becomes an issue when you're outdoors. Some businesses outdoors make sense. Some of them it doesn't. Anytime you can get outdoors, it's usually better. The scene is more dynamic. There's as long as you're not on a busy street or something, or sometimes if that's your business model where it makes sense, you're in a city area. That's okay too. But as far as indoor lighting goes, you can look on Amazon for a ring light. Ring lights are great, inexpensive ways to do simple, what you might call talking head videos, where if somebody's just talking about a subject, ring lights can be a great way to do that. Otherwise, if you're lighting a large area, you can have two stand lights coming in from two sides that can do that. And even those can be had for less than $100 on Amazon. It's very much worth your while to, if you're a business that's been there a while and you plan to be there a while, set up a spot in your basement, in your attic, in a spare office where you've got your lighting, you've got your two tables set up where you can do interviews, where you can do testimonials. All of these things can, if you've got the spot for it and you've got everything set up, then you can do ready fire content, day and night, whatever the case may be. One other tip for you guys, Amy, I'll get to your question here in just a second. One other tip, it's always good to have a prop in your video. A prop is anything that somebody can identify with that symbolizes your solution or your service. I'm using plumbing today, so we'll use plumbing. You can go to the bank and grab a stack of money and say, here's what the average basement renovation costs. When your pipes get frozen and your basement gets flooded. So don't burn this money. You have the $500 deductible in your insurance, right? So you've got this money in your thing. Heck, some people would even take to burning the money or something like that. When you have a prop, here's my checkbook, right? When you have something to talk about as a symbol, it brings the video to them. I don't know how to explain it, but it's a psychological thing that makes the video feel more real than if you're just sitting there saying, oh, well, this and this and this and this. So props are huge for videos. I don't know why, but anytime you're doing a video, the main topic, think about a prop that would symbolize your talking point and use them. That will make a powerful impact. So, okay, Amy, what do you got here? What is your length of videos? Length of video is an interesting one because some of the most watched media on YouTube today are 3-hour podcasts, right? We all see this happen now. Maybe some people have heard of Joe Rogan. He's got the most popular podcast on YouTube these days. And you're talking 2 and 3 hour videos. Typically you want to start with shorter videos, right? And you can actually use those shorter videos to lead to longer videos. And that's a very popular strategy for people who've got a mature digital strategy campaign. They will use short videos to introduce the longer videos. And I always go back to a podcast I was listening to a really brilliant business owner down south. She has her digital CEO podcast, and I listened to her podcast once at the gym. And, you know, she had a good dynamic personality and she was talking, and I'll never forget her because I listened to her podcast for 45 minutes and she had some valuable tips in there about how to grow a business online. And, you know, that's the power of a long form content. You can definitely do longer videos, but start out with shorter ones and use shorter clips. You can even do a long video recording. Let's say you do an hour interview with the business owner, right? And you're talking about the history of the business or the history of the industry and all the crazy stories that he's had, that he's experienced as he's brought this product or service to the marketplace. And then once you have that 1 hour video, you can do 20-second, 2-minute, 1-minute segments and chop them. And then you can make 7, 10, 15 videos out of one long form video. So there's all kinds of ways to do that. Here's the thing. Every business by definition has a profound reason for being in business. And you forget that because you're in it every day. You're dealing with the problems and it's kind of business as usual, right? But every business is unique and specific. And thought leadership is the word of the day these days. Thought leadership means that your business is innovating your industry on some level. And guess what, guys? It has to be, or else you wouldn't be in business. So your business has something great and unique about it. And that's where a marketing agency or a marketing team or a marketing expert can help you see your business from the outside in a way that you couldn't before. And this is a good time to talk about what's coming up in the next couple months with the Roundtable. Joe's got several providers lined up here that are going to come at this from different angles. And I wanted to provide these first 3 series to give you guys a foundation so you knew how to balance your strategy, because, you know, it can get exciting when Facebook traffic starts coming in and you forget about your website, or you get your website going and then you forget about social media or video. Like, you know, you want to balance your strategy here. But now that you guys have these basics and the foundations, it's really time to start thinking, okay, where do we dig into this? And in many cases, Facebook is a great place to start. And you're going to need video to do well on Facebook as well. So your business has greatness in it. Continue to watch these and connect with the providers in this program, and they will be able to help you paint your business in a light that you never even thought possible. And it doesn't have to cost a ton of money. You don't have to spend for 6 months before you see any results. With Facebook ads these days and with traffic the way it works, you can see results in as little as a couple weeks. If you get your campaign together, you get your offer together and get your content together, people like Palmer and others can plug you right into Facebook ads, and you'll know within 2 to 4 weeks as to whether or not it's working. And that way you're not spending money month after month. We've all had people come to our door and sell us, oh, it's a 6-month advertising package. You get this and you get that. And, you know, you're spending money month after month and you don't see a bottom line increase to your business. That doesn't have to be that way anymore because of how direct marketing is. So if you follow the steps in these videos, you're a lot closer to real traction online that you've seen so many businesses, you know, benefit from. We've all seen it. You've all seen the businesses that reach that growth curve because they find that niche online. That niche is out there for your business, but you got to know where you stand in the industry. And a common mistake I see people make is they try to copy their competitors. And that's kind of the worst thing you can do, because then you're just like them and there's no differentiation then. There's a very specific reason why you don't do it like the guy down the street does. And that's what you need to accentuate in your branding and your content. Okay, so I got a few more questions coming in. Shasta, in your opinion, are YouTube paid ads worth it? With those ads overplayed? Shasta, everything I've known about Facebook ads in the last 5 to 10 years, and in fact, I network with some big spenders on Facebook on a weekly basis, and Facebook's getting more and more and more expensive. Now, that doesn't mean that Facebook's played out for your niche and you shouldn't look into Facebook, but your question was about YouTube. Are YouTube paid ads worth it? That's what Shasta's question was. Are YouTube ads paid ads worth it? What I'm seeing is a lot of people are shifting the strategies from Facebook to YouTube because YouTube is not as, let's just say, saturated as Facebook in some niches. For many businesses, Facebook hasn't even begun to be used to its potential. Sometimes we're starting ads in the region here and we're spending $10 and getting $40 back from the client acquisition that we're getting. Like, Facebook is still a tremendous business tool for a lot of businesses. YouTube is a very close cousin to that. I'd hold them about equal right now. If you're a lawyer, there's certain professions, certain surgeons and doctors that have to pay a lot of money for clicks on Facebook ads. in some cases, your market will be saturated on Facebook, and YouTube can represent a different platform to go on if you're finding Facebook is too competitive. But in most cases, especially in our region, Facebook is not oversaturated at this point. And I've seen tremendous results happen with some simple Facebook ads. And YouTube's very much the same thing. If you've got a clear message, if you know what your audience wants to hear, you can make a couple short videos and do really, really well on YouTube. Let's see, Shasta, your other second part of your question was about geofencing. Yeah, I mean, geofencing is a great way to get, you know, a very laser targeted region. And anybody who doesn't know what a geofence is, the amazing thing about ads these days is you can say, I only want to show ads to the people in this neighborhood. You can get all the way down to a neighborhood in some cases. Now, sometimes you don't want your sample size to be too low, but geofencing is a very powerful way. If all you can do is serve businesses in PA, like if you're licensed or registered in Pennsylvania, you can make sure that 100% of your traffic spend goes to your specific region or a specific part of the city or country that has the right demographics that you need. Yes, geofencing is a great way to do that. You can't hit a drop-off point where your audience size is too small. Facebook does not like your audience size being too small. You need a certain sample size to really have some momentum. So there's a balance to be had, but yes, geofencing and geotargeting, that's what makes the internet great these days. Hope that helps, Shasta. Jessica,
I think part of that question too is be overplayed, meaning if you have a small geofence that you know, you might over deliver. I think that's part of the Shasta's question in there too. One of the things that you can do in almost all types of advertising is you can set a frequency cap, meaning if they say, I don't want my ad to be shown more than X times over 30 days,
okay.
You can usually set, that's almost a default, a setting within, whether it be, you know, any of the ecosystems of YouTube, Facebook, anything else, you can set frequency caps.
Gotcha. So there's a word to what Palmer's talking about called ad fatigue. And that means if you see the same ad a bunch of times, like you don't, not only do you not click it, your brain starts to reject it. Like you don't even want to see it. You're like, oh, I see that so many times. I don't even want to look at that anymore. So the thing you can, as Palmer was saying, if you saturate too much in too small of an area, you get ad fatigue faster because your sample size is slow. So that means you have to do more ad iterations and more angles to your story, which costs somebody more time and more money. Or like Palmer said, you can slow the frequency down to where it's only being seen by that person once a week or whatever the case may be. It's kind of fine tuning this dial as far as your geofence goes. What would be the next social media segment you would suggest after Facebook? Does it depend more on industry or social media utilization, Jessica? Thank you very much. It's a great question. It very much depends on your industry. You know, depending on your demographic and the amount of money that your audience makes, the age that your ideal audience makes, this will very much determine your strategy. Of course, business to business, we talk a lot about LinkedIn. Between Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, there's not a business that can't dramatically benefit from ads. So what you want to think about is, are you business to business? Are you more of a nuts and bolts utility provider? Sometimes things like LinkedIn are a little better, or even YouTube, where Facebook, you can do a lot on Facebook. It's hard to limit Facebook because it's very versatile as well, but Facebook's a little bit more consumer focused, a little bit more end user, a little bit more, you know, think about the things that get shared on Facebook, right? It's about good, heartfelt things. It's about, look what I bought, look what I got, look at these new shoes, look at my new car. You know, these are the things that really get the shareability on Facebook. Where LinkedIn, on the opposite side, it's all about helping people solve their business problems. So LinkedIn is a very powerful tool, and YouTube is probably somewhere in the middle. People use YouTube for just about everything. So if you can crack the code on YouTube, there's plenty of people on YouTube that can do business with you as well. As far as the next social media segment, yeah, what's next? You know, that's an interesting conversation. I'm a believer that we're looking at a consolidation these days, where, you know, 5 years ago Facebook was quite new, right? But it's really not going anywhere. It's gotten more popular, and people are creatures of habit. And you know, again, 5 years ago, I put a big proposal out for a social media and YouTube strategy Now, this was almost 10 years ago now when this stuff was all really new. And I said, listen, this is going to be the future. It's going to be expensive, but if we do this, you're going to be one of the biggest in your industry in the nation if we start now. And it was expensive. It was a little early, and they didn't go for it. If we would have started then, we would have been the biggest. It was in the automotive world. I'll just say that. We would have been the biggest automotive YouTube channel probably in the nation if we'd have started when I said we should have started. And again, it was early. It was a lot of money. They weren't sure. And, that's okay. Life, we just learn these lessons in life. But now the time and data has proven, granted, something major doesn't happen, as far as the internet goes out or something wild. Because of the habit forming, as far as how people get used to certain things, people age, 30 through 60 are very active on Facebook. I do a lot of medical and clinic Facebook strategies, and women in their 60s are all over Facebook, and they're making medical decisions for their families all the time. So just a bit of intel, if there's anybody in medical here, the market on Facebook for medical is gigantic, and you got to get the ads out there. And if you put them out there in the right way, you will get results. So as far as what's next, people you kind of worry, right? Like, well, I'm going to invest in Facebook, and then a new social media platform is going to be coming up, right? Well, it depends on your demographic. If you've got a really young audience, you want to be aware of what the newest thing is. But between TikTok and Snapchat and a few of the other ones, that's where things are these days. And there's always a few that pop up, but you can lean pretty well on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn as a business asset and feel pretty good about that. Unforeseeable catastrophes aside, even looking at Twitter, right? They've been around longer than any of them, and Twitter's kind of a dumpster fire, you might say. They have a lot of political problems. They have a lot of trolling issues on their site. People still spend a ton of money on ads there, but I'd recommend staying away from Twitter unless you're in a very specific niche. So these things are pretty trackable now. You kind of know what these things are going to do. You kind of know what to expect from them. And you can lean on it pretty well with your strategy. And you don't really have to worry about missing the next boat, so to speak, for most businesses. Let's see, Jessica. So the engineering niche, we can talk about that in a broader category. Talk a little bit about strategy, and Palmer, if you have any insight here, by all means. But as far as an engineering category, any professional service category, whether it's a lawyer, an engineer, even a physician, for me, for instance, a digital consultant, anybody who can do digital transactions online, just like I do or others do, any well-paid expert is kind of another way to look at it. The expert industry, the expert niches. John, I see you here too. You're in a similar category as well. It's all about thought leadership and value exchange. So specifically with engineering, you have a specific category that you go after. Specific civil engineering, or you do specifically focus on bridges or highways or roads, construction projects. It can be anything, right? So what you typically want to do is create a white paper that is all about the state of the industry that's happening right now and why people are misled or overspending. And this happens in every industry. You see the guy down the street's charging twice as much, and he does, people are way overspending down the road, and he's not being very honest. He's kind of deceptive with his practices, or they're charging money that they shouldn't be, or whatever the case may be. You can talk about in your white paper, in your ebook, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so what's going on in the industry? What's the state of the art? What's happening now? And how is your agency, how is your business bringing new changes or doing it in a better way, right? You have a captive audience. They're on your website. They clicked your page. They're reading your white paper, and they're learning about the industry. Because most people that need the solutions, they're not in the industry every day like you are. You're an expert, and you got to remember that. We forget the expertise that we have in our businesses, and that's probably the biggest enemy here, is that we just forget that we know so much about our industries. If you start getting that information out into content that leads to your offer, you can have content out there that doesn't lead to your offer. It doesn't lead to scheduling a call with you. And that content might not do you any good. But if you have a white paper that opens up with, hey, people are way overspending on these engineering projects, and here's the main reasons why, they're automatically in those first 2 pages going to say, wow, I learned a lot from these first 2 pages. And they're going to say, wow, these people really know what they're doing. They're going to keep reading. And then they say, okay, well, we do it this way because we've been, this is what we've learned over the last 25 years of doing this. And You know, we give free quotes, free whatever you want to call it, a free consultation session, and you should schedule a call with us because you know, we want to help you save money and achieve your goals. And it really comes down to those few things, right? The carrot and the stick. You help them save money, achieve their goals, and avoid common problems that happen in your industry. Yeah, so Jessica, looks like you're on point there. And this goes for anybody in here. Anybody, almost any business, you know, if people are spending money with you, 9 times out of 10, or at least 5 times out of 10, they're doing research before they talk to you, and they're doing it online. So you can get out ahead of it by having this sort of helpful and informative content, which comes back to the video strategy and the content strategy we talked about earlier. Palmer, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, you answered that well. I'm glad you answered that one on engineering. That's a tough one. That's a tough category. That's a really great idea, the white paper idea. My approach, because usually decision makers regarding engineering services it's a very niche and narrow segment of audience to touch and reach. Over my years in marketing and advertising with engineering firms, I've kind of taken a Rolex or like Mercedes type approach to their marketing, meaning I'm going to try and set your brand up as the elite and brand. So when you're talking to, you know, so when people, it becomes a selling point for someone who makes a decision on that. Oh yes, we're using this engineering company, you know. So it's kind of more about just, you know, kind of establishing your brand as a leader premier, and that white paper things can really do that. Is one way of doing that, but that's been kind of my default thing, is I said, because it's a very niche audience, and you know, people usually don't say look at a bridge or a building and say, gee, who is the engineering firm behind this? You know, from a consumer standpoint, the end product that's being used, but there's a lot more that goes into it. You wouldn't want me designing your bridge or building. You want the best, you know, people for do that. So emphasis of, you know, the quality of things and the safety and, you know, the quality and things like that. And a white paper can really get that across.
Yeah, there's a lot of businesses that could benefit from something like that for sure. To point out what Palmer said about, you know, who is the check signer, right? Oftentimes you want to write to that check signer. Sometimes you got to get through the front office person who's, you know, who's doing the research online. They're going to be looking and Google searching, and you know, your content has to speak to several people, right? And especially in a large company, if you have a higher dollar item that's a B2B product that is being sold to a large organization, oftentimes the higher ups will have boots on the ground researchers that are out looking for solutions, and then they'll find your website, and you sort of have to speak to both of them, right? Because think about a project manager. You know, a project manager is going to go out and find the solutions, and they're going to refer that to their higher up and say, oh, I found this company, they've got the white paper, and it made a lot of sense, and, you know, by the way, they got some price ranges in here. Do you want to set up an appointment with them, Joe? And let's get them on a call, right? And then, you know, you have to get through one person, and then they have to refer it up. So these are the types of things that a simple document can act as a salesperson for you 24/7, 365. Looking to see who else we have on here. Any other industries or categories we want to cover, guys? Anybody have an industry that they're not sure how to break into online? There was another question here about how to see what's going on. Let's see, the question was, is there a local region info for social media utilization? Palmer, I don't know what tools you have for seeing what's going on in the digital world, so to speak, for any given category. Facebook Ads Library is really powerful, and it's a tool right on Facebook. And you can search anything you could think of and see what ads are being run on Facebook these days. So let's go to, let's do engineering firm. I think if Jessica's still there, she'll get a benefit out of this. Engineering. Now, I'm not a pro at this. I rely on Facebook experts. Let's do engineering construction, see what we find. So as more skilled workers retire from building trades, industries, not enough, let's see. So they're selling certifications. That's a school board sort of looks like an education niche. Madison County government. Looks like maybe, I wonder if they're doing RFPs. Maybe you can even find business online. If you're an engineering firm, you can see who's posting jobs that need done. I don't see any standouts right here in the engineering category. It probably means that there's some, it's not that overused. I don't know. Yeah, I don't see anything here that stands out as far as a good ad. Most of these are not what I would call very focused. But in your niche, in your category, you can look for, I mean, pretty much anything as far as your niche, your industry, and you can see what's going on out on Facebook. It looks like there is a filter to search by region, so that you can go right to Pennsylvania there, Jessica, that can help you. And it could be a good tool for anybody who's thinking maybe Facebook ads are for them, or if they need some ideas. Sometimes even ideas on what not to do. You can look here. Just because it's on here does not mean it's profitable. I will give that caveat. I would argue that most of what I'm seeing here, these are probably not that profitable, at least in the immediate. It's hard to tell what exactly they're doing. But I don't see strong images. I see generic stock images, hard to understand messages. So guys, you can see here, just because, they're on Facebook doesn't mean they're doing well with it. So the opportunities is still there for 99% of businesses.
It looks like a lot of candidate and issue ads there.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, it's that time of year, right?
Yeah.
What else?
There's good ideas for inspiration there, and you can use across any category there that's with using the Facebook ads library.
Let's see. Do we have any other chats?
We have some tools available to us that we can actually kind of see in a competitive landscape. Not so much, doesn't tell us what they're doing in social media, but we can tell where people are spending by a vertical or category, from radio to newspaper to and an industry sector. But I have that when people ask for it. It's kind of more anecdotal almost. I kind of say this is just reference, just because this is what everybody's doing. I think you talked about it. Either don't copy your competitors, stand out and be different. That's kind of where, okay, this is what's happening in your space. You want to know that to see if they're missing opportunities, but let's set your own path, set your own course.
Right.
Message. I think that's what you said earlier about on that. So
yeah, don't divert to copying. It's usually especially in this day and age where everything is we're all doing business in a glass house basically because of social media. You got to find what's uniquely you and really double down on that, and it'll pay off in the long run. And tools that Palmer is talking about, those, because his industry and where he's uniquely positioned, it sounds like he's got good data that can help you, decide where is best to dig in, and that's helpful. I see Patrick here. He's saying sales marketing director for operates the Courtyard, Microtel, Wingate franchises. Yeah, so you've got a corporate website situation. I totally get that. You don't have control over that, but you do have control of the Facebook pages. That's really good. What is the best strategy to use on social media to drive business and leisure travelers to the website for reservations? I have no budget for Facebook ads right now. Couple things. What are people coming to town for, right? What are the reasons they're here, from the Altoona Curve to whatever the overnight reasons might be. If I were in your shoes, Patrick, I would be connecting with, there's two questions as a marketer I have to ask is, where are my customers and who has my customers, right? Because some businesses already have a list of your customers, and that's why Joe and I have worked on this, because I know that, there's a lot of businesses out there that need this information, and this is an example of that. But Patrick, I would try to collaborate with as many travel related businesses in this area that routinely attract people into this community. Some sort of way of cross promotion. If you've got your salary and your time and that's all you have to work with, and you don't have a Facebook ads budget, then you've got to use your feet, right, to get the traffic. And you can be the linchpin. Like, if you want to help other businesses create good media, Like if you just want to help get good stories, like if you get good at doing little handheld interviews with business owners or events that are happening in the area, like, there's all kind of reasons as to why, that could be beneficial. Um, do you have, do you guys call in like, corporate events? Do you guys fill up rooms, as far as like, conference rooms? Do you guys make money that way? Okay. So yeah, even with the chamber, right? Like how can you get more foot traffic through that way? And we all know local people don't usually stay in hotels, or maybe you have data that says otherwise, but um, I would get the feeling that the more people you send through, the better off you are. Um, but yeah, who's bringing people into town, right? It could even be government, right? The Altoona airport, it's not so busy these days, but how are people coming into town? And that's where I would start. I just build relationships with those people. And the only way to build relationships in business is to be valuable, right? They don't want to sit and listen to you talk about your dog or whatever. They want to know how you can help them help their business. So if you can do that somehow, if you can create events, maybe a mutual charitable event that gets all of these things involved, or go to the what do you want to say, the convention center and say, hey, what do you guys have coming up in events in the next couple months? And all these people are, they're going to tell you these people are coming in from outside, and like all of that is to me where your action is going to be. Anybody have any final thoughts or questions for the day? So guys, what you want to think about here is every couple of weeks, Joe's going to have another one of these, and he's going to bring on other people. If you're all sick of hearing me and my story, next week and the weeks beyond, or the next few weeks, you're going to hear from new faces and new perspectives, and even some specialists that can help you dive into specific categories. I hope this was a good, well-rounded foundation for you to know how to balance your digital marketing efforts, whether it's your time or your money. Some way or another, you got to get that engine moving. And I hope this was helpful for you guys. Joe, anything you want to close with here? Or
No, I appreciate the work that you have done to
Sure.
put this together and to get us off to a great start with it. And I know we're scheduled next on October 20th. We're back in the afternoon again for the people that morning doesn't work for. So we're at 2 o'clock on the 20th. And the topic is supposed to be Facebook ads. And I'm hoping that Palmer Brown is as much of an expert on Facebook ads as Kyle, you have been in the first 3 topics that we've done. So that's what the plan is. But we are also looking for feedback from people who have attended these to let us know whether or not we're hitting the mark on the topics, or whether there are things that you really would like to hear more about, so that we're not just throwing things out there and saying, here it is, take it or leave it. We would like to really get input from you. So the easiest way to do that is to email me at jhud@blairchamber.com, and we'll design future programs around what you indicate is important to you. So Palmer, if you and Kyle can stay on for a few minutes afterward, just so we can plot the next topic, and hopefully we'll be sending out, as we have the